Is there a war on alcoholic beverages? Is alcohol the new tobacco? My name is Van Potts, and I'm the president of Preston-Layne Partners. Our company works in the adult beverage business. And today I want to spend a little time talking about these issues. And whether you're in the business or just somebody who enjoys an occasional drink, I think there's some things here to pay attention to. Now, first and foremost, the disclaimers. I'm not a research scientist. I'm not a doctor, medical doctor, or PhD. And I'm not a licensed nutritionist or any of that such. I do have a bias. I am in the adult beverage business. And I think those are all things that are really important to explain right off the bat, because I think that's missing in a lot of today's back and forth and some of the things that you're reading in the media, so on and so forth. So I am, however, really well researched in metabolic health, things like insulin resistance, the effects of various foods on the microbiome and your gut, and how that affects your overall health. So those are very important things that we'll discuss very quickly. So is there a war on alcohol? Well, yes, there totally is. The US government recently received a report and posted on the CDC that there is absolutely zero benefit to even an ounce of alcohol. And they said it's not the beverage, it's the alcohol itself. So that, of course, is going to lead to low and no alcohol beverages. They went so far as to say also that with the first sip, you raise your risk of getting cancer. Now, I don't want to get too deep into exactly how they say you raise your risk of cancer. I read all of it. I went into a fairly deep dive, and my one question was, none of this stuff happens in a vacuum, so how in the world can you draw this conclusion? And you know what? I don't care if aldehyde is considered a type 1 carcinogen or not. At the end of the day, you cannot study these things in a vacuum. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is priorities. Do we have our priorities in the right place? Because at the end of the day, the number one killer in this country is still heart disease. Stroke is up there, cancer, et cetera, et cetera. It kills a lot more people than alcohol ever will. And the reason that those things happen is because of something called insulin resistance. And insulin resistance and inflammation, they are at the heart of all of these issues and situations and problems. So what causes that? Well, I can tell you right now, alcohol in moderation or teetotaling, even maybe a little bit heavier use, does not in any way, shape, or form contribute to insulin resistance. As a matter of fact, studies suggest that moderate use of alcohol will lower insulin resistance. And insulin resistance, make no mistake about it, make no mistake, insulin resistance is at the heart and the core of all these metabolic dysfunctions, which leads to coronary disease, high cholesterol, things like that. So what exactly causes insulin resistance? It's not for us to get into that and go deep, because this is about the war on alcohol. But at the end of the day, they talk about 1 drop of alcohol increasing your risk of cancer, but they don't talk about 1 ounce of soda, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mountain Dew. They don't talk about 1 bite of a Snickers bar. They don't talk about the maximum amount of sugar a human being can take. They don't talk about ultra-processed foods and how they are destroying American life and longevity. So that leads me to wonder, if there's a war on alcohol, who's prosecuting it and why? And that is something that we don't know and we can't answer right now. There's some definite, I have some definite feelings on it in terms of why it's happening, what's happening. But again, I'm not suggesting that people should drink and drink heavily. I'm not suggesting people should abuse alcohol. I don't think that most people do. But the idea that 1 drop of alcohol raises your risk of cancer and there is no acceptable amount of wine is simply suspect. I'll say it that way. I can't say incorrect because I can't prove that it's incorrect, but it's suspect. And by the way, one other thing that I would say, to the best of my knowledge, mental health is health. It's part of your overall health. And what is more healthy than sitting at a family table or with friends and enjoying a nice meal with some wine, or having a cocktail after work. Now, mind you, I would suggest that cocktail probably shouldn't have a lot of sugar in it, but at the end of the day, what's more healthy than having your mind relaxed and you're socializing with friends and so forth? So after all, there is strong evidence and there are studies suggesting that lack of social network contributes to early death. So, excuse me. Again, if mental health and mental well-being is part of your overall health, then saying that alcohol has adult beverages have absolutely zero place, zero role in a society is at best suspect and probably incorrect. My point here is not to debate the fact about whether alcohol causes cancer immediately or not. I don't think any rational-minded person could actually believe that or subscribe to that, but I do think that we have our priorities out of place if we are going to war on alcohol and adult beverages, and we're not going to war with soda pop producers and people who make candy bars. I mean, at the end of the day, the science is well established on what sugar will do and ultra-processed foods will do to your gut biome, your insulin resistance, et cetera, et cetera. So, my name is Van Potts, president of Preston-Layne Partners. I think everybody should be talking about this because it's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to cost your money and my money, as well as potentially some of our freedoms. So share this. I'll try to put some of the links down below so you can have some more information. But I think this is a really important topic that everybody needs to be discussing.